I'm sad I had to give that up. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to PMP's Den of Antiquities. Today, we are doing the roundtable for episode 8 of The Acolyte. So, real quick before we get started, I just wanted to say thank you all. We hit 800 subs. I think it was, today's Saturday, right? So I think it was Friday night. So we're getting pretty close to that 1,000 mark. We're trying to get 1,000 before the end of the year. So we're trudging along and we're doing well. So I just want to say thank you everybody for rocking with me, and more awesome stuff to come. But I'm joined by all these awesome people today who also want to give their thoughts on the Acolyte and kind of finish off the show as a whole. So going. Let's get right into it. What did you guys think of the Acolyte? We can just go in order. Charlie and Peak, you guys are first, and then we'll go. Ben, sorry, I'm running off like 4 hours of sleep. My brain's not firing off. But we're going to go with Ben, and then we're going to go with Percy. So Charlie and Peak, you guys are up first.
Sir, it was great, man. The last episode, man, you just come and tail off the flashback and stuff like that, and then just picking up right after that. Wicked cool. This little space chase thing was awesome visuals. Seeing that, then they're on the switches to Chimere and Osha on Baldeminic. There's probably a meme out there for like our faces and stuff when we realized what was about to happen after that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
A cameo by a very legendary Sith, pun intended, but not really because he's always been canon. Plagueis. Ego the Mask himself, which phenomenal. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Then we cut to the fight again. You probably see it somewhere. I'll send it to you. 10. You killed it.
Yeah, man, good job. Probably the best parts of the show was the combat for sure. So
yeah, so my buddy has done the stunt team and stuff like that for the fights for Chimere and stuff like that. So it was amazing seeing his work. I love the fight, especially paying homage to Shu, and just so much joy in that. Live action bleeding of a Kyber crystal, that was phenomenal. The twist of one sister goes bad, one sister kind of somewhat goes good, memory gets wiped. Things play out the way they do, and we get a little green friend at the end. So I have nothing but good things.
Yeah, so needless to say, you enjoyed the episode.
Yeah,
right on, man. Peak, what about you, man?
I'll keep it short and brief. I enjoyed that episode. Really.
Nice. Okay. Very cool, man. Yeah, I always like getting your opinion because I know you're kind of you're fresh to Star Wars. It's not.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a first love sort of thing. You kind of just recently started to grow with the franchise. So I'm always as like kind of like a not really like an outsider, but like as like somebody who has more of like a not like a like super sweaty opinion on it. It's kind of cool to hear like your point of view on it.
The professor notices things that we don't. I've noticed.
Yeah. Well, it's cool because like different perspectives, and all that stuff. So, right on, man. Right on. Well, Ben, what about you? What did you think of the episode?
We're just in a week of good finales, man. We got good Acolyte finale, good Boys finale. We got good finales all around, man. Good finale.
I'm still trying to catch up with the Boys. I'm on season 2 right now. I'm watching it. So
no spoilers. We're not talking about angry. We're not talking about angry white men. We're talking about angry black women. It's different.
Yeah, it's different. Not the same thing.
Oh, I got that reference.
but no, I really enjoyed this episode. I feel like it tied everything together. I'm sure we're gonna get more into this when we do like our roundtable for the whole series in a few days. But like, I did not expect to enjoy this series at all, let alone how much as I have. And this finale really tied everything together for me. I did not care for May at all until this episode. Like, May is the one element of this series I did not care for from the beginning. I didn't care for her episode to episode. I feel like this episode really like helped me warm up to her in a way I didn't expect. The Plagueis thing, I didn't know that when I was watching. I was like, who's that Sith guy? That's obviously a Sith guy.
Yeah.
I haven't been paying attention to a lot of the social media discourse or online discourse about the Acolyte as it's been coming out.
Yeah,
so I haven't.
Don't waste your
noticed
time with
certain
it.
Like, I was like, was that supposed to be Plagueis? Like, was he credited?
Yeah.
Like, what? Like,
Yeah,
that was supposed to be.
it's Plagueis, yeah.
That's distinctly okay. I think that's pretty awesome. I think it's pretty awesome.
I mean, unless it's like I highly doubt that. That'd be wild if they created another. Like at that point, I'm like, that's kind of weird. If it was another like Moon or Mun, however you say it, who was also a Sith and also had like Sith eyes and stuff like that. I was like, that'd be a hell of a coincidence if there was two.
Yeah, I was about to say because he was in the shadows, so I was like, he doesn't really look like a Mun. I mean, last time we saw live action Muns was Revenge of the Sith, so.
True.
He doesn't look like a
the
banker
banking clan.
The banking clan. He doesn't look like a banker to me, but no, I liked seeing him in the shadows, like teasing what he's going to do in season 2 or whatever. I love like sort of how it sort of furthers like the mystery of who the stranger is. Like the fact that he was like the sort of discarded apprentice of like this Jedi Master who is sort of politically engrossed in the Senate. She's sort of representing the Jedi in these affairs. Like, all that was really interesting to me. And then the crystal bleeding. A stupid idea that was executed perfectly. Like, not going too much... Yeah, not going too deeply into it, but I always thought that the artificial crystals from Legends were stupid. I always thought that was stupid, and I always thought the crystal bleeding introduced in the Ahsoka book was stupid. This is the best execution I've seen of this concept. Yeah. Like, seeing that on screen, I was like, that's fucking good. That's really fucking good. I was definitely behind that. But no, like, I thought this finale did a lot of like things for me that I really enjoyed. And yeah, I want us to get deeper into it, but my impression positive. Very nice, positive. Man. Shocking. I know to expect. I'm a very negative guy. You know this about me.
No, I just think you're critical about stuff. Like, you can, and that's okay. Like, it's that's the thing is like, I think it's okay. And we've said this like the whole time we've been watching this show is like, it's okay not even to be negative about the show. What's not okay is to go and shit on people who are either liking it or disliking it. Don't be crapping on or what's the saying? Don't piss on somebody else's Cheerios if you don't like it. Like, you guys have discussions all day long, but don't be a dick about it. You can be nerds and have discourse, but don't be assholes just to be assholes.
Exactly. There's better things for me to be an asshole about, like the live action Mulan. I'm not getting over that.
I didn't even watch it, so I can't.
I'm not getting over it, man. I'm not getting over it.
I feel you. Yeah, the remakes. That could be a whole different podcast with our whole different YouTube thing within itself. Is all reacting to all the recreations of stuff. But Percy, how'd you feel?
A slaughter like that since the Ewok War.
Oh my god! Always bringing the Ewoks in.
Enough about Caravan of Courage. I liked it. I thought the episode was pretty good. I feel like a lot of people are gonna have gripes with this one. With they introduced a lot of stuff in the last episode, and the Stanleys comes up here with a question I was gonna address here with a picture I've got.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let me read it, and then we'll get right into it. How do you compare the differences between how Osha bled the crystal virtually instantaneously, and how Vader did it with his hand to build up the hate and the rage? I mean, anything Vader does, it's automatically cooler just because it's Darth Vader. Like, I'm just gonna be real. Vader obviously gives it a level boost up. And I liked that better, but I don't know. I mean, I think this is a good visual representation of how I feel like it would happen, because honestly, because I haven't read that comic that Vader bleeds his crystal in, but I know there's a giant basically reaction and explosion. We don't really have time to do all that and the VFX to do all that in this show. And still continue on with the story. If she's sitting there basically Dragon Ball Z style screaming and putting all her hatred into the crystal, I don't think there's it doesn't fit with the setting that they're going for. If she's just the kind of the instantaneous thing. And I didn't realize it was also touching her hand too.
Yeah, so that's the big thing I wanted to point out.
But yeah, go ahead, Percy. You had some stuff you wanted to say.
So basically, a lot of people are mad about this scene because of the the Anakin argument. Why didn't Anakin's lightsaber turn red? Well, his kyber crystal wasn't exposed, and he wasn't able to touch it. And this is the first time we even see Osha use the Force, let alone the darkest Force power that I can pretty much think of, Force choke. Like, that's definitely top 3 darkest Force powers, I would say.
For sure.
I mean,
yeah, she's reacting hugely to learning what happened. Finally, the big reveal, and I think she's gonna reject Chimera eventually. But this is what it looked like. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I would have preferred it instead of it doing kind of like a rainbow saber. If she would have just ignited it and it would have automatically been red. Like, because we see it bleed, and then like I think it like going up the blade.
She's
was kind
still
of like,
bleeding it as she ignites it, though. I think is what they're
I
trying to represent. Like, it
I
hasn't
agree.
finished bleeding. She just got super pissed at Chimera, even though they became friends now. So it's like, even like everything, all her hatred's building up. Anyways, that's all I had to say about that, because I know it was gonna be a big question, if not like
bro, he's seen her lightsaber. Of course she's gonna go over to his side, man. He like did the whole like walk in the lagoon butt naked thing. Like, she's not gonna she's going for the perks, man. She's going for the perks, not for the dark side.
Why did you join the dark side? I wanted to save my wife from dying.
Booty.
Why do you go to the dark side? I was indoctrinated. Why do you go to the dark side? I want to end corruption in the Republic. Why do you go to the dark side? Dick.
Hey, that's what
I just thought
Leslie
there was
Headland
cookies.
talks about. Yeah, cookies. Yeah, cookies. That's what Leslie Headland was talking about, being seduced by the dark side. She was like, "Oh yeah, being." I don't know if you guys saw that interview with her where she like talks about being seduced, and she's like, "Yeah, I really focused on the word seduced." So that's why it's canon. She wanted the dark side. The dark side has cookies. There you go.
She wants some D. She wants some D side.
Yeah, it's some D
But no,
side. Yeah.
Going to your point, Max, about like the saber not immediately being red, but sort of going from blue to red, I sort of disagree with your sentiment where it's like, if it was immediately red, that'd be cool. But I feel like it's supposed to be a shock to her character.
Yeah, for sure.
He is surprised that she got angry enough for this to happen. Like, I don't know if her character knows what bleeding is. I don't know if the Jedi ever explained that to her. I mean, obviously she would have had to. I don't know if she ever got to the point where she got a lightsaber, because obviously she quit the Jedi shortly before her trials, I think.
Yeah.
I don't even know if she ever got a lightsaber to begin with. But like, you know, she's probably familiar with the idea that you have to imbue energy into a crystal. But I think it sort of works visually and also narratively for it to turn. It isn't just a cool visual. It works narratively for it to turn red as she turns it on. Like, we as the audience see the crystal bleeding, so we sort of know what's coming. I mean, some may know, some don't. Like, I assume
the sweaties know.
Yeah, we know. Our neck beards are thick enough for us to know, but I feel like it is a shock to her character. It's like, imagine just holding this in your hand and it just turns red, and then it's like, it's a shock. It is a surprise to her. She's all like, wow, like, this was inside me the whole time. I feel like it's meant to be sort of like her confronting how her character is developing, because she killed her master, like, all this anger is flowing into her, and now she's about to strike down like this villain who corrupted her sister, and it's just all these conflicting emotions happening at once, and this is sort of the culmination of that, and it's sort of like her deciding, well, I guess this is who I am now. You know, it's meant to be a shorthand for what the dark side does to people, I would say, where it just takes you, and you know, you can't really separate yourself from it once it takes you. You know, that was sort of what George Lucas said about the dark side the entire time, the fact that it seduces you, and once you fall prey to it, once you give in to that temptation, you're corrupted from that point on.
Yeah. Well, it's like, let's think, like, how many Jedi have like come back from the dark side. I mean, we got Quinlan Voss. I guess you can debate Ventress, but like, it's never really like, she's got the dark side kind of turned on her. So like, she's not, I don't really know if she's like, because I never read Dark Disciples. I don't know if she ever turns back in Dark Disciples or not, but it's very, very hard to turn back once you're, like, you're saying,
turns
it's almost
on Dooku in the end.
Yeah. Well, that is like, but is that because he turned on her first, or is that because she's light side now? Like that's the thing. It's like,
Yeah, she goes back and forth a lot.
yeah, I think she kind of lies somewhere like somewhere in the middle.
I mean, Ventress, I think, is as a character is the kind of person where it's all like, okay, the Sith abandoned me, the Jedi failed me. I'm just gonna do my own thing.
Yeah,
I think that makes her character interesting. And I didn't see Bad Batch season 3. I know that she comes back in it.
You're not missing much.
Yeah.
Really, I was thinking of buying the complete series DVD. Should I just not bother?
I think it's at least worth to watch. Just sidetracking from Acolyte real quick. Yeah, I think it's at least worth to watch.
You got Plus.
Yeah, but I don't know if buying it. I don't know. I mean, I liked the first season, but after the first season, for me, it kind of fell off a little bit. There's gems in the second season, and I think in the third season, but like overall, it's kind of all over the place.
I know your opinions about Pabu. I disagree with you about Pabu.
Oh yeah. Well, we can get into that another time, but yeah, it's yeah.
But going back to the crystal though, like I remember it was mentioned. It's like, why couldn't Anakin do that on Mustafar? It's because fucking bleeding wasn't canon yet. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other reason.
I think George Lucas knew why lightsabers were red.
I think he just thought they were like synthetic. I think that was like the whole thing is that they were just like fake crystals, which bleeding is so much cooler than them just being fake crystals. Like I like bleeding to hate.
I always thought it was a stupid idea, but then seeing this depicted, I think it is the best execution of this idea. The fact
for sure.
That she's not even doing it intentionally. It's just happening because she's pissed.
Yeah.
I always liked the synthetic ones just because it was like the Jedi were hoarding the Kyber, and that's what the Sith ended up turning to doing because they couldn't get a hold of it.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like even then you get kind of like in gray areas because like the original Sith were just Jedi that like broke off and didn't believe in like the major stuff. So it's like I don't know, like wouldn't they have at least some sort of like saber? And if like those Jedi like they would know where to get the crystals. So I'm like I don't that's semantics.
Yeah, but you got to go through an army of Hu Yang and whatever else.
Yeah, fair. Yeah,
are you willing to face off against David Tennant?
Yeah,
like, face off against David Tennant for Kyber crystals. Did you see him in Jessica Jones? Are you willing to face off against that?
Yeah. Jumping back a little because we hopped straight to the car, which is fine.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's all Stanley's fault. Stanley's derailed us. No, I'm just kidding.
I think it's what stuck out to people most about this episode. That
yeah, I mean it is. I think that and Plagueis. I think those were like the two main things, which we'll get to Plagueis here in a second. But I want to kind of hop back to the beginning of the episode because I thought that was kind of interesting. Like I was wondering, or at least what y'all's interpretation of was when she had the helmet on and she was like doing like the witch magic to Chimere. And I thought it was cool that like Chimere was honestly strong enough to like, he was under her spell, obviously. And you could see he was like struggling to take off the mask, but he was still under it. And I wanted to kind of get y'all's interpretation of like what you thought was happening in that scene. Mm-hmm. And anybody can go. We don't have to go in any crazy order.
Dude, it was really cool. Sorry, man. I'll make mine brief. It was cool because her family history has that off-brand of Dathomir and stuff like that. So it's gonna be extra powerful and mix that with whatever that was. So yeah, seeing that and how Chimere was like, whoa, okay, I didn't ask for this. Okay. Everything, and just, eventually gets enough, mojo to get it and stuff like that, and jump into can see the future and stuff like that. And like, she can kill without a weapon, highlighting something that was going to come next and stuff like that. I enjoyed it. It was really wizard.
I'm bringing it back. It's so wizard, Annie. But stop trying to make it fetch a thing. But I like when she put that helmet on, I thought it was interesting foreshadowing because like obviously at the end of episode 6, he was telling her, hey, it's just going to be you and the Force. It's cortosis, just like the training helmets that the Jedi use. It's designed to help you focus. And that's sort of like her first time attuning to the Force since she left the Jedi. So I can see it sort of all rushing back to her like a flood. She's all like, and I think it was sort of interesting foreshadowing for her to see like May stand over Soul killing him. but then it's revealed in that episode that her and May are technically the same person.
Yeah.
Like they're not twins, they're not sisters technically, they're the same person. So the vision was muddled, which I think that's fun foreshadowing, but also sort of plays around with like the sort of like prophecy element of Star Wars, the fact that you can misinterpret like predictions and prophecies, and how oftentimes when you try to prevent the future from happening, you'll end up causing it. It's a very similar theme that's also explored in another franchise that's running right now. Another franchise that happens to have dragons and blonde people, but we're not talking about that. Not talking about that.
Never heard of it.
We're not talking about that. But no, it's like your prophecy can be muddled. Sometimes you can see something and you think that it's going to be this way, but it's like, no, you're misinterpreting it. The future is constantly in flux. Also,
even Yoda says that too. He's like always in motion. The future is when he's like talking to Anakin.
Yeah, things can constantly change, and by trying to change the future, you end up causing what you fear the most. Another thing, though, is that even if May and Osha weren't the same person, which they are, they established that in this episode. Even if they weren't the same person, you could just see. It could also be an arrogance thing, where where Osha sees someone that looks like May standing over her dead master, and it's like, oh, well, that has to be May. I would never kill Soul. I would never do that. I've never done anything wrong, ever. So I think it could also be like an arrogance thing for her. It's like, oh, no, I could never do that. It has to be May. Like this black woman with like these short dreads, like killing the guy from Squid Game. That could never be me.
Well, even like she like turns down because Chimera asks her like I don't even know how many times to, like be his like apprentice and like join the dark side with him, and she says no. So I think that arrogance, like you might be onto something there, because even like he's like final offer, like in like when they're about to like depart for Brendok, and she's like, no, I'll never join you. Like it's not my style. Like I'm not dark side. I'm not. So like it could be like an arrogance. Like I couldn't do that. It has to be May sort of thing. So I think you're onto something there with that.
Well, I think that also impressed him because, he was all like, well, your sister didn't think twice about that deal. It's because May is undisciplined.
Yeah, for
She's
sure.
not disciplined. Osha has always been more patient. She's always been more independent. She has always thought more for herself.
No, I believe that the vision that Osha seen was true. I think it was going to be May that was going to take out Soul. But this was before Osha got the information. So
exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's
Before
kind of
May
like
or Soul told her.
Yeah. So it kind of reminds me of what was it? What's the name of that movie with Tom Cruise? Minority Report.
Minority Report with him and Neil Dunnett. Yeah.
Because remember they always had a machine that could tell the future. But Tom
Minority
character said, yeah, right there. Tom Cruise said, well, I haven't done it yet. You see what I'm saying? So I think what she saw was true. It was just the lack of information that she had that kind of sort of changed the vision, but not necessarily because since they technically the same person.
Yeah. The Stanleys thought that it was Mother Coral. Yeah, I mean, because we don't ever see her dying. Typically, when somebody dies off, I guess she just turned into the Force ghost, and she died in that episode after like Endara like mind wiped them all. I guess she was just one of the casualties, and we just don't ever see her dying. But and then
that's
Osha had blind faith, Jedi and the
soul.
soul.
Well, you have to remember that the Star Wars universe doesn't have a proper afterlife.
You just become one with the Force, yeah.
Yeah, you just become one with the Force. Now they have concepts of an afterlife, like there's a concept of hell that exists in the Star Wars universe, but in terms of an actual afterlife, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, because did even May say that? Like that's like the second time hell's mentioned in Star Wars, because she's like, "Go to hell, soul," or "Go to hell, Jedi," and then like ejects herself.
It's actually like I think the fifth time. No, the sixth time in Star Wars. The first time was the first. The first time was the first movie. Star Wars, original Star Wars, 1977, original Star Wars.
It was in the first one.
Yeah. It's after Luke leaves. Owen's all like, "Beru, have you seen Luke?" And then Beru's like, "Oh, he went out to the fields early this morning." And then Owen
Oh,
says,
be hell to
"You better
pay.
come back soon. There'll be hell to
Yeah,
pay."
yeah, okay.
And then the second time is in The Empire Strikes Back, where Han Solo takes his tauntaun out, and it's and
I'll
the
see
guy's
you
like,
in hell.
I'll see you in hell. And then the third time was the Force Unleashed video game, Force Unleashed 2, when Starkiller is in Starkiller's in the arena with the Rancor, and he's like, "How the hell do I kill it?" The fourth time is in the Clone Wars Season 2 with I'm trying to remember. It's the squad with Heavy in it.
They say hell in Clone Wars?
They say hell. Well, it was a Cartoon Network show.
Oh yeah, it's fair.
So it was in like season 2 or 3 of Clone Wars. It was the episode with Heavy's squadron. I forget the name of them, but they were
Domino?
watching that base. What? Yeah, the Domino Squad. And one of the clones gets eaten by a worm, and another clone says, "What the hell was that?"
Oh, okay.
That's the fourth time. The fifth time was in The Force Awakens. And this would be the sixth time. They also probably say it a couple times in Andor, but they swore a lot in Andor. I don't remember.
Yeah. Dang, you're right. There's actually that's like a YouTube video within itself. I feel like that's like a fun fact video or something.
I just did all your work for you. Do it. I just did all the work. You can clip it and make it a YouTube short, post it to your channel, repost it to Instagram. It's like times hell is referenced in Star Wars. And then there's like a book about like a dark side hell that the Naboo believe in, where there's like 7 gates or something.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Fucking Nubians are stupid. They're fucking whatever.
Hell count.
Hell count. Exactly.
Percy, what did you think though about the OSHA kind of doing the witch's magic with the helmet? Because we didn't get your thoughts on it. Oh, you're muted, my guy. We cannot hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
There you
Sorry,
go.
my bad. Yeah, I was just saying that I think that made me think that part of one of the mothers could still be inside of OSHA or May or both of them kind of thing. Because like you said, we didn't see Coral leave. And when she disappeared, it was revealed she has the same power as Mother Anastasia, when as like the whole time I assumed Anastasia was like the super strong one. But it seems like they're both super strong, and even though Anastasia created them, I think Coral had a lot more like hand in it than she's given credit, because she has to bring them to term, obviously, and then but then there's got to be some weird Force stuff alongside that as well. And
I'm sure, yeah.
I always thought that the idea of them being sacrificed was so the mothers can take over the daughters' bodies and live forever, kind of thing.
I think that was the initial plan, because that's what they were saying, is like the daughters were like the sacrifice almost of like the future of their
clans. That's what May told Indara and Sol when she was taking her test.
Mm-hmm.
She
and
said
I think
her destiny, everyone's destiny, was to be sacrificed, basically.
Yeah, and I think that because I think they're going to try to tie it into Plagueis, and that's why Plagueis is interested, because Plagueis is all about trying to extend his life and live forever, kind of ending the Sith line. Like he's like the final Sith, because there's no need to have any other Sith, So I think they were trying to play around with that a little bit. And speaking of Plagueis, we'll jump to that next. How did you guys? I mean, I know how we initially felt, but now that we've had some time to kind of to step away and really think about it, how are we feeling about them adding Plagueis into this episode and aging him up, I guess, too, because he'd technically be like he could still technically be a teen, because we don't really know how like Muns look as they get. Yeah, here Percy's got it. Let me zoom in on your. We don't really know how Muns look throughout their life. We've never seen that like in live action. So he could still be pretty young here. He doesn't look young, but like maybe he just looks crusty just because that's how they wanted to depict him. But
yeah, the bloke has. Thank you, Percy. You're a good man. Yeah, because remember, he has a couple hearts, so that gives him a lot of age and stuff like that. And of course, dark side dexterity, what that does to the body and stuff like that. And this is before the accident and stuff like that, so he doesn't have the breathing mask yet. Spoilers for the book, but so he hasn't discovered the way to like completely regenerate.
Yeah, no, not yet. He finds that kind of towards the end of his life,
it's
honestly.
awesome.
Well, we're discussing this as if we're assuming the Plagueis book is canon, which, it's not.
No, Plagueis is canon, but the
Yeah,
book is.
same where stated that, which I'm happy as hell for they did that. I went back and rewatched that, and I was like, oh my god, awesome! Thank you, Sam.
Yeah.
Because I love that idea. Man. I love.
I am on that note though. I will be very displeased if they decanonize Plagueis, because that book is a masterpiece and they shouldn't decanonize it because
the book is branded Legends.
No, 100% it is, but I think it fits perfectly, like right before. And I'm gonna say, like, if like this show in any way like decanonizes what happens in Plagueis, like this show is dead to me, because like I love Plagueis, and this is like not to go on, not to be like that guy, but it's just like I'm gonna be that guy. Like I'm fine with them adding Plagueis and having him be in the shadows. Plagueis has always been a shadow kind of character and like lurking and figuring stuff out and kind of working off the backs of letting other people do the heavy work, killing them, and then moving forward and kind of using people. So I'm totally okay with him being in the show. But if Plagueis is, I mean, and that's where I'm like talking out of my butt here, right? Because we don't know what's going to become of like the book, or if they're going to do a season 2 or whatever goes on with that. Because like even if they do a season 2, I think they're going to keep Plagueis. We'll probably get like a couple scenes like we got in we only got one in this one, but it'll probably, if they do a season 2 of Acolyte, it'll probably be the exact same thing where like they kind of keep Plagueis in the background, maybe show him once or twice, and that's it, I would imagine, because they don't want to take away from their main characters,
Which is something I like about this show. Like even when you see Yoda at the end, it's just like, it's the back of his head.
Yeah.
Like
I would have liked him to give a little bit of wisdom or something like that. I don't want Yoda to take up the whole show, obviously, but like I would love him to like spread like a little bit of knowledge, and then that's it. Like, and then just leave, kind of like he does with Anakin, And literally that's what we got.
That's exactly what we got.
I think that's the actual model they use. I think Percy got it from them.
Yeah, they used mine.
Yeah, but no, like. When it comes to Plagueis' timeline, it wouldn't surprise me if they shifted things up at all. I mean, look at what they did to Ki-Adi-Mundi.
Yeah. Well, that's just an age thing. I don't care if they make Plagueis a little bit older, because he's technically, I guess, from the books, he's supposed to be like a teenager right now. He's a little
Doesn't he
older.
say he's over 100 years, not that he's been alive for only 100 years?
I don't remember.
By the time he meets good old Sheev, when he's Palpatine would be a teen. Yeah, he wouldn't be a teenager. He'd be still a kid at this time.
Like I said, age doesn't really bother me. Like the Ki-Adi-Mundi thing. The only thing I thought was stupid with Ki-Adi-Mundi, I'm like, out of all the Jedi you pick the one guy that has like the Sith have been instinct for the millennia. Like there's hundreds of Jedi that you could have picked and not had him. I still stand by it. I think it should have been Coleman Trevor, dude. I know he's a meme in the fandom, and it would have been great to see a dinosaur CGI'd, man. Like, we don't know how long his species lives because Wikipedia.
We needed Yarrow Proof just standing there like, hey.
Dude, that would have been sick, man.
I would have
loved to see Yarrow Proof.
That's what I'm saying. Like, give us one of the. Don't give us literally the. And I get it. My guess is, and this is just my educated guess, they picked Ki-Adi-Mundi because it was supposed to show the arrogance of the Jedi. How could the Sith return? This isn't, because he mentions it in that council. He's like, oh, is it a splinter group, or is it like a Jedi gone rogue or something like that? They don't even mention Sith.
They just Googled most hated Jedi, and Ki-Adi-Mundi popped up.
It's a retcon. And they chose someone that they knew was recognizable, because outside of Mace Windu, he's the only one who like talks on the council. Outside of Mace Windu, and Yoda,
yes,
everyone who actually
I'm sick of.
That's the only reason why
people not taking Ki-Adi-Mundi seriously, because on this Revenge of the Sith poster, he is one frickin' person removed from being on this poster. We have Yoda and Mace Windu are both there, and who sits beside Mace Windu?
Hey, I'm gonna be real. He has more lines, but Kit Fisto does more. Kit Fisto survives against Palpatine way longer.
He doesn't say anything.
He doesn't say anything. He doesn't say anything.
He laughs at C-3PO. That's the one thing he says.
But Ki-Adi-Mundi, all he does is he has 2 lines, and then he gets murked by all the stormtroopers. At least Kit Fisto lasted a few seconds against Palpatine.
When did Fisto even join the High Council?
Oh, I don't know.
I
don't have
probably
that
after
lore.
he invented the waterproof lightsaber. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, in the
He
force
invented
bubble.
that. He did that.
Yeah.
But
I'm just saying, as a ranking High Council member, Kiadi was literally next
he was
in
up
line
there.
to be on that
I don't know. Did
fucking
Kiadi
poster.
smile once in the whole trilogy? Does he smile at all in the whole trilogy?
No.
No. Kit Fisto does though. He smiles in Attack of the Clones. He grins after he force pushes BD C-3PO.
Yes.
But
BD3PO.
but let's get back on track here. Keep talking about Plagueis. Yeah, how did you guys kind of feel about, like, this is kind of the introduction? Like, yes, they're like, we still have the Plagueis books and stuff like that, but like, how do you guys feel about them introducing? Because I know a lot of people were like pissed, not because Plagueis was in it, but this is how like he's first getting introduced. Especially the people that didn't like the show. I know they were like really mad because like they obviously didn't like the show, so they didn't want Plagueis to debut in it. Personally, and I'll kind of go first. I know Charlie, you kind of already gave your thoughts on it a smidgen. If you have more, you can feel free to say. But like, I liked that we saw Plagueis do. Like I said, I had goosebumps when I saw, like, literally I had like goosebumps all over my arm. I still think I would have preferred Tenebris. I think I Bith Sith, man. I would have loved to see a Bith Sith. I think that would have been super cool. And it still would have, like, I think people would have had less to complain. I feel like they're just giving people ammunition, and maybe they're doing that on purpose to like gather hype, because it doesn't matter whether it's good or bad. Hype
be working.
Yeah, hype gets attention to stuff. So it's like whether it's good or bad. So I think that's.
I don't think they're intentionally trying to do that. I don't think they're intentionally trying to do that.
Well, maybe not. I mean, I think that's apples to oranges, because like we're not in the writers' room or talking about stuff. But that is a fact, though. Like, even outside of Star Wars, like, whether especially like in marketing, whether it's good or bad, if people are talking about your stuff, that's great. That's what you want. It doesn't really matter whether they love it or hate it. Obviously, people want it to be loved, but marketing's marketing, gets more eyes on it and stuff like that. So like I said, I think that's, and I'm gonna throw it to you guys. I think I would have preferred Tenebris, just because I want to see a Bith Sith, but I wasn't really like, oh my god, I can't believe they freaking added Plagueis in this. It ruins Plagueis. I can't say it ruins Plagueis or anything like that, because we literally saw him creep around the corner with his hand. Even the Stanley's like, Plagueis is creeping a little. We get one shot with him, so like you can't really say it was like, whether you like the show or not like the show. Like, he was around during this time period. Maybe the age was changed or maybe whatever, but he was canonically, he would have been alive and around, at least in some shape or form, at this time. But I'll toss it over to you guys, and I want to hear what you have to say about Plagueis and seeing him and being introduced.
I didn't even know it was him until yesterday. Like, I remember watching the episode, I'm like, huh, cool, creepy guy, probably Manny Jacinto's master. What's he up to? He'll probably see him in season 2. I didn't know it was him until yesterday. I was hanging out with a friend of mine yesterday. She famously hates Disney Star Wars, but she's actually been enjoying the Acolyte. Like, she fucking despises it about it. She's been enjoying the Acolyte, and she hadn't seen the season finale, but she had been looking up spoilers, and she was like, "Oh yeah, they put Plagueis in it." I'm like, wait, Plagueis was in it? And I had to think about it. It's like, oh wait, that's who that was. Like, I honestly didn't realize it was him. What?
It wasn't Gollum. What the heck?
Yeah, like I honestly didn't. It didn't occur to me that was him, especially since, like, I've heard so many fucking Plagueis rumors in the past, like, almost 10 years now.
Yeah, everybody's like, Plagueis.
Remember when people thought fucking Snoke was Plagueis?
He should have been.
I still do. But
it would have made it infinitely cooler if he was.
It would have made it cooler, but like, so when I heard that, I was like, is that supposed to be Plagueis? I don't know if that's supposed to be Plagueis.
Yeah.
Like, if it is, like, if they confirm that tomorrow, I'll eat all of my fucking words, but like, I didn't know if that was Plagueis. That being said, if it is, neat.
Yeah.
Like, I like it. I can tell it's a prosthetic design. I like that's hidden in the shadows, so you can't really make out too much detail. I like that you can sort of see his eyes, and it's like, what's this guy up to? You can tell that he's like sort of
full CG myself.
I mean, the hand was definitely practical. Maybe it's because it was hidden in the shadows, but I thought it looked like a prosthetic mask to me.
Maybe.
I think we don't see enough of it to really to really judge. But who knows? I mean, like, they could have done it. They could
We'll
have
learn
done
the
it with.
making of.
Yeah. We'll get it. We'll definitely get a making of. So yeah, we'll learn about that, and it'll be cool to see like the breakdowns of combat and stuff like that, which we're gonna get to here in a minute. But Charlie, go for it. What you got, man?
Yeah, no, wait. Star Wars fans getting mad?
Yeah.
No, yeah, no, about the whole Wikipedia thing. I know that after this episode happened, that popped up again. So I know fans are probably happy about that, but no, man, I love it. Just to cap off what I was saying, I enjoyed it. I loved it. You can probably go back and rewatch. It's very rare when my face turns red and I punch air. So good job, good job.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Dude,
yeah.
I know we were all losing our minds
We
in
lost-
that.
yeah.
And that.
I was speechless.
Yeah. I was like, oh.
I knew exactly who it was right away, and my thoughts on it are just basically, I did think he looked pretty old. We've seen other people in his species looking a lot younger. We've seen that book artwork of him looking a lot younger. So I just think, yeah, he looks pretty old. Hopefully they explain that, or, again, like Palpatine is only 60 and he looks like a gosh darn like Neanderthal in his 60s. You know what I mean? Like they never would live that long, kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no, I just.
Are you talking like in the prequels or in the original trilogy for Palpatine?
Well, prequels, he's a lot older in the original trilogy.
Oh yeah, in the original trilogy he's like 84.
Yeah, he's in his 60s in the prequels. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
And that's when he gets, Revenge of the Sith, if you know, like the
attempt on my
the lightning and the
left
face
me
looking different
scarred and deformed. It's possible. Is it possible that Plagueis just killed Tenebris in the underground chamber, only to surface for two pretenders? No, I don't think so. I think he was because basically, like, I mean, I guess we don't. I'm trying to think of how many years, because like he hadn't met Palpatine, he hadn't. So it's definitely close if it isn't. But no, I mean. Maybe, but then again, like we would have heard like explode, like it was like a catastrophe. Because there was like
that mine exploded and he needed to get off that planet. If you remember the book and stuff like that, he had to get to a ship and his was off, so he had to borrow one. And,
because it even talks about he's like one of the fastest beings like alive, and he was struggling to like keep up with Tenebris, and then struggling to like still escape after like Tenebris had been crushed and stuff like that. He was like, I'd never run so fast in my life using like his force abilities. He said he had to like use every force ability underneath the sun just to escape. I don't know, like that doesn't the way he was creeping around that corner really slowly doesn't strike me as like he just survived a near-death experience and lost his master. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, he did have Sith eyes at the time, so I don't know what would cause him to have.
He could look like he got struck by lightning, like I was saying about Palpatine there.
Yeah. Well, now that I'm saying it, like, dude, he did look kind of grungy and dirty. Maybe
hard up, I thought.
Maybe because it doesn't really say like how much time passes between stuff. It kind of just time jumps, right? Like, am I wrong on that, Charlie? Like, he like escapes and like obviously goes on the ship with the pirates and stuff like that, but like it doesn't really say like how long time passes between each of these kind of like events. I don't think.
Yeah, he hits the ride, kills a bunch of people for his, since they got in his way. He gets back to his home planet and informs everything like, hey, Tenebris is a A-list and stuff like that. He's died, so all his stuff belongs to me now. Gets all the holocrons and gets all that and everything. Starts to melts that wealth and turn that into things, and immediately starts going out looking for stuff to link up to the Trade Federation and the Grand Plan, how that's going to go into place. So,
also, that's a hell of a coincidence if Chimere just happens to be on the one island that Tenebris and Plagueis were mining underneath and stuff like that. I mean, it did have mining equipment there, because I think, Percy, you pointed that out in episodes.
It was the same mining equipment that was at the mine where the witches lived.
Yeah. So like,
Yeah.
I mean, there is mining
It
stuff there.
cannot
But...
it cannot be a coincidence. It cannot be a coincidence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There is. Crap, you haven't got the prequel yet. We gotta listen to that. There is something on that of probably why he would go if that is the same place. There would probably definitely be a reason why he would go back there. Where if that wasn't where his former master was killed just to check something out. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to spoil anything.
For sure.
So,
Let's jump to May and Soul kind of you know, I don't what point because I'm kind of was like this is really stupid, so I want to see if you guys can explain it to me so I can see it from a different point of view. What motivation does the little like beaver hedgehog, I think it's Basil, I think that's his name, or Basil, like what motivation does he have to stop Soul from like I guess like bumping into May? Like he like purposefully like shuts down the ship. Like he doesn't have like and then like in the previous episode he's like trying to like expose her and like kick her and beat her up and stuff like that. I'm like, what connection do you have to stop Soul from doing this? Like why is this
I don't know what his deal is at all. It seems like he's just going around causing chaos. That seems like it to be his whole deal.
They needed a reason for the crash to happen.
He's literally just there to like cause problems.
Yeah.
I know he was hired as a tracker specifically, but I think he's just there to cause problems. I don't know what his whole deal is at all. It just
Darth
feels
Basil.
like yeah.
The true Sith.
he's a Sith Lord.
A Sith Lord?
Watch Acolyte season 3 ends, and it's like he's the one on top of it all. Turns out he was the one commanding Plagueis the whole time.
Oh God. Oh God. Yeah. Well, it's kind of jarring because I thought that scene was actually really cool of them like kind of doing like almost like it kind of felt like a Fast and the Furious style like chase scene where they're like kind of like skirting through, or even like an Ahsoka, I guess, with the boneyard and the whales and stuff like that. It kind of felt.
But go on.
Yeah. But it's like I felt like it was kind of cool, like, and then it just they were like, oh, I'm gonna shut down the ship, and then he like Soul like rams her, and then she crashes anyway. So I'm like, what the crap is the point of like stopping the ship? And I guess Soul like also, dude, her helmet looks so fucking stupid. I don't know why did they put a helmet on her. She looks so dumb.
It's because like it's not like the helmet must be like full of padding or something, because like
So
you can
stupid.
see very clearly, like if you could see very clearly if the visor was down, it wouldn't meet her eye line at all.
Oh,
like,
the visor's sick though. I do like the red visor. I think that is kind of cool. We don't really see a lot of red visors.
But that is not a helmet that is meant to fit her. It's probably over padded. They probably didn't test it before filming at all. And then when they were doing it on the day, they were like, fuck, we don't have time to fix this. Don't put the fucking red visor down, even though everyone wants to see that. Don't do it.
Yeah.
You already look stupid enough as it is.
She looked pretty dumb.
I will say real fast, I love how they put that in there. Percy, I'm so glad you did that. The original sound effect for the original trilogy, I have you now.
Nice. Okay, I didn't catch. I mean, I saw the scene, but I didn't catch the audio cue with that one.
I can always appreciate.
No, you're fine.
I can always appreciate small details like that.
You got Coruscant, man. Coruscant. But yeah, I don't know. I wanted to talk about the Basil thing because I was like, this is like, not like, I mean, it's not like the end of the world, but I was like, this is definitely taking me out of the scene when I was like previously like pretty invested in like the chasing them like flying through the ring and stuff like that. But
definitely a lot of budget went into this episode.
I think I have an idea. I think what it is this whole series, like, well, who can you trust? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you can't trust little creatures. I mean, it's what I love about this series is so much corruption.
Yeah, a lot of corruption. Yeah,
that's why I love this series. Corruption. Like, you don't know who to trust. Even, like I said, even the little tracker, you can't even trust him.
Yeah, that's fair. That is a good point. I still think the scene's dumb, but no, that is a very valid point. Like, I think it tracks with the rest of the show, meaning like everybody's kind of turning on everybody. Like there are no friends in this show, you know.
I mean, maybe Basil was overhearing the fact that he murdered like a black woman. It's like, you Soul did what?
How
He was
dare
like, I can't let Soul get away with this.
How could you? Which I mean, I guess let's talk about that now. Kind of going into, I still think, like, look, did what Soul did, was it right? No, but I think he made the best judgment call he could. He literally thought like Anastasia was like incinerating or like eviscerating May. I felt like when he was doing that, and like they could have fixed this scene super easy and made him seem like way more of a villain, is like, I knew everything was okay, but I didn't want to risk it, or like I felt evil, like I made a snap call and I felt like killing her was the best choice, or something, or like I didn't want to risk it, or something like that. Oh, we lost Ben. Hopefully you can pop back in. But yeah, I don't know. I just like, do you guys feel like Soul really did something bad? Because,
We
like,
talked about this last night or 2 days ago.
I'll hit us.
Carry on.
What you got?
We'll give it an example. Carry on.
I think what it is when it came to Soul, especially with the witch,
Mm-hmm.
is that he never seen anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, unlike May and Osha, see, they used to seeing their parents, their moms doing witchy disappearing, teleporting, whatever you want to call that, on the normal base. But when Soul saw that, he saw that as a threat. I mean, look at that. He don't know what that is.
Mm.
All of a sudden, he sees the child like about to evaporate, like the Thanos snap. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think he just got scared and nervous, and the first thing in his mind was to protect the child.
But yeah, he clearly didn't know what was going on at all. And to be fair, neither we don't know what we don't know what she was doing.
Yeah, our thing that we were talking about was example. You're getting ready to disappear. I'm Saul. Getting ready to float and everything like that. Never seen stuff like, oh God!
Yeah.
Yeah, just does that. Oh, I'm sorry. You
Oh, I know the example. This was the example I used. Like, I hang with Charlie all the time, right? See, I know Charlie's a killer machine, but y'all don't know he's a killer machine. So if somebody comes up and Charlie kills him, well, it's no shock to me because I know Charlie's a killer machine. But Osha and May, they know about their parents doing all this type of. I mean, they grew up. Look, they're around witches, so they're accustomed to seeing them doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
So them, they're not accustomed to seeing that. They already find them suspicious as it is. And the moment Soul saws that, first thing you do is protection. Eliminate the threat.
It's really a matter of it's really a matter of cultural bias at its finest. Because like the Jedi in the galaxy, that's something I really like about this series, the fact that they highlight that the Jedi are kind of knobs. And the Jedi have the Jedi believe that they have a monopoly on the Force, that their way is the one true way. They're basically fucking space Catholics. And like, oh, someone's doing the Force different than us? It has to be dark magic. They're witches. We should burn them.
Well, I think it also leads to the darks, his actions, like in the way that he sees it, because like even Yoda is like, fear leads to hate, hate leads to anger. All this stuff. Like, and that's kind of like what with Charlie and Peak with you. What you guys were saying is like he kind of reacts out of fear and causes this whole thing to. I still think the witch should have probably led with, "Hey, we're gonna let Osha go with you," instead of just like turning into like a spooky witch devil thing.
Yeah.
I didn't believe her.
Probably should have led with that. I don't know, maybe unpopular opinion, but
there was clear mistrust on both sides.
I believed her, because it was a certain scene when Osha said she want to be a Jedi, and then I think she like try to wipe the tears away, try to show like
in episode 3.
Yeah.
yeah,
The first
yeah.
flashback.
She was gonna let her go, but it was just all wrong how she went about doing it. She wanted to tell them when she about to do witchy stuff. Then after she got, then she gonna
I guess
say,
in my mind, yeah, you're probably right though. In my mind, she went to the rest of the coven. They were like,
yeah,
nah, we ain't doing that. But then she was kind of like, look, it's my kids, my kids, my rules. So I think you're right about that
yeah.
actually.
And then May, all that she saw was Jedi killed mother. That's all she saw.
Yeah.
That's all she saw.
And I also remember at the time, I think he was hella young in that
Yeah, he was
flashback.
very young.
So,
And
yeah.
so was gullible.
Who was
So
young?
very, very gullible.
I think he's blinded by his his affection for Osha. Like he instantly felt like kind of like how Qui-Gon felt like a connection with Anakin without really even like knowing him. He just kind of sensed like a vergence in the Force. I think they were trying to play kind of on that with like Osha. It's like because they talk about the vergence of like the planet was destroyed from a hyperspace lane or hyperspace war. Now it's flourishing with life. Something's obviously happening here. Like this just doesn't happen just out of like the whimsical. And then he like meets her and like hands like I still think handing a child a lightsaber is probably not the best idea, but hands her the lightsaber and like connects.
I had a good
with
note
her.
about that.
Go for it. Go for it.
It was a lot of like even the actor who plays Soul has compared himself to Qui-Gon, and after episode 8 especially, I think he's a lot more like Anakin. And that in like so let's look at the trios here. We got Indara, Soul, and Osha, let's say. And then you've got Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka taking their places, and Osha left the order like Ahsoka did. Soul is very emotional like Anakin is. And Indara, while very dogmatic, she is very compassionate at the same time, very much like Obi-Wan, where he was a bit of a prune, and like if Qui-Gon smoked death sticks, he'd be like, bro, what are you doing, kind of thing. But yeah, I feel like that's where the real parallels have like peeked through, even though he acted more like Qui-Gon in the beginning, but he definitely changed throughout the show.
For sure. Yeah. And to the Stanley's point too, like what you guys were saying, like he's only seen like them doing like bad witch stuff, because like they take Torban and like do so. Like when she's like, I mean, that's pretty freaky. She like her eyes go black and she got like fangs and stuff like that. Like that's not like, hey, she's going in for a giant bear hug and a kiss on the cheek or something like that. She, she's going in for the kill, sort of thing. But
no, you're absolutely right. The simple fact is that he had no idea what the fuck what the fuck she was doing.
Yeah.
All he saw is that she was turning to black goo or whatever, and he was like, "What the fuck? I've never seen anything like this." Stab.
Yeah.
And he's already predisposed into thinking witches are evil.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like, I don't know. I mean, I was gonna save this kind of for the end, but since we're kind of already on this track, I want to bring it up now. Like, I don't know if this show really paints the Jedi in that bad of a light, because like that's kind of like what the show was like proposed to us as, is like the Jedi are like not evil but like not good. And like while the Jedi definitely like in the show they definitely don't do like the best of situations, I wouldn't say is like I still wouldn't call them the bad guys after seeing everything I've seen. And like that I think they were I don't know if that was misleading in the marketing or something like that, but like yeah, did Vernestra throw Soul underneath the bus? Yeah. Did Soul make the wrong decisions? Yeah. Should Torben have not gone off and tried to like rescue like the Virgins in the Force? For sure. But I don't think that makes them the bad guy. I just think that means they're like everybody else. They make mistakes. They're well, for the most part human. And I don't know. I feel like that was kind of misleading. It'd be like the Jedi are the bad ones. Like they're the bad guys, because I didn't really see that.
Well, it's no such thing as arrogant bad Jedi. It's the whole corruption part. Yeah. I think that's the thing. Anybody can get corrupted. Whether sure. Even a Jedi. I mean, like I said, I think Soul was going to turn himself in.
Mm-hmm.
But Indara, with her filthy ways, why you want to do that? You done went through all this trouble and you just want Osha to be all alone? I don't think that's very sissy.
Yeah, manipulation for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, so
that's just manipulation.
it's just think about the serpent and Eve. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
very, a lot of manipulation going on.
Seduction, man. Seduction of the
Yeah.
dark side, I guess. Because like we even see with Venestra, like she leans down and she's like, bro, I'm about to throw you under the bus so freaking hard. I'm sorry, you're donezo. You're already dead, so it doesn't matter. But I'm gonna throw you under the bus and like blame everything on you.
I'm sorry for ruining your legacy, man.
Yeah, exactly.
You fucked up a little bit, and I'm gonna blame you for everything.
Yeah.
I'll give you a nice little funeral though and set you on fire.
Yeah, she gave him a Viking funeral, so I guess that's something.
I respected that.
It couldn't work out perfectly, and Plagueis was loving it. He was loving it.
Yeah, there you go. I was a little sad too that we didn't get to see it. Like we got to see some good, and like we can kind of lead into like the Soul versus Chimera fight. But I was a little sad. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to see the light whip kind of more in combat, not just like freaking like fly swat a bug.
I think it's a tease for a next season.
Because I can't judge whether I like it or not based on like everything we've seen. It is weird.
It was the same as the trailer. I thought like
it's
the exact same shot. Yeah, it was the exact same shot from the teaser.
They got 180 million, but they didn't have enough for a lightsaber whip fight.
And you know why they did that? Just to let the audience know it exists. You know why? Plagueis, why he was beside, to let us know that he exists. That's what the whole thing was about.
But boo! I don't want that.
It's season 1, man. You gotta have setup, man. It's season 1.
I don't know. I disagree with that. Yes, you have to have.
They're opening up a whole new timeline, if anything, too.
I think the reason why they didn't show a lot of Plagueis is because the same thing is like why they just like barely show Darth Vader, or they barely show Luke Skywalker, or they barely show Boba Fett in these shows. Is because when those dudes step on the stage, they steal the show, and nobody gives a crap about anybody else besides Darth Vader or besides Plagueis, or because there's so much of a following like behind them. Maybe a little less Plagueis because a lot of people haven't read Plagueis and stuff like that. But when you have Darth Maul and those style characters, they kind of steal the show, and they don't want that being taken away from like the main actresses like Osha and May. I mean, I know they're played by the same person, but like Osha and May and stuff like that. So
yeah, like they made a genuine effort this season, and like this episode sort of solidifies that hey, we've been fucking up a lot. We've been nostalgia baiting the fans too much. Like, we need to give them characters to care about before we go all in on nostalgia. Like, remember what we did for Mando season 1, and everyone loved it, and we just teased at stuff here and there, and then we spent Mando season 2 setting up for like 3 more spinoffs. We probably shouldn't do that again.
I don't know. I love Mando season 1 and 2. So I don't know. I might be on the other side of the fence with that one, but
dude, come on,
I don't. Mando season 1 and 2 is gold. I'm planting my flag on that. 3 was kind of a little out there. I wasn't crazy about 3, but 1 and 2.
3 is low for me. 3 is like season 3 is really fucking low for me.
Yeah,
I didn't care for it.
But no, let's go. Let's hop back to that. I don't know, and we'll get. I do. I'm gonna save some of my opinions on like the characters and their development for Tuesday's roundtable because I actually have a lot to say on that. But I'll touch on it just a smidge. Like I'll just throw a little sprinkle of it out there. To be honest with you, it to me it's really unfortunate that like, and this is just my take on it. I think the least interesting part of this show is May and Osha. Every time they're on the screen, I'm like, I don't care. I'm like super invested. I think Chimera has like a way better storyline, and Vernestra and Soul and all of them. And then every time May and Osha are on the screen, I'm just like, I don't care. That's just how it made me feel like when I watched it.
I don't disagree with that sentiment, dude. Like I said it at the beginning of this recording. Like I did not like May at all until this episode. I
Yeah.
really didn't.
Which I'm actually
Like,
we'll
I
talk
feel like-
we'll talk about that towards the end because I do want to hear your thoughts on that of why you kind of changed because that's interesting to me. I do want to because I have a question saved specifically for you for that because I want to know kind of why you had that feeling. But no, sorry, continue. I interrupted you. My bad.
No, it's like I'm right there with you, dude. I didn't find her character compelling because, like, you know, and I'll go deeper into this on Tuesday, but I didn't like the inception of the plot of this show. I think that it got better as it went along, but
Agreed.
like, evil twin man, come on, just
Yeah.
There's another show out right now. I'm not gonna name any names. It has dragons in it and blonde people, but there's another show out right now that also had twins fight each other, and it was infinitely more interesting.
Yeah, I think it was something about something with houses, you know, real estate, and like some dragons or something like that. Yeah, I think I know.
For cars or something.
Yeah, something.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's the street name. The street name that they're moving on.
Right. but it's like, come on, dude. Evil twins, come on. Just Mando. I'm not saying Mando season 1 is bad. If I'm ranking all of the live action Star Wars shows, like by season, Mando season 1 is like number 2 for me. Number 1 is Andor.
Fair enough. I mean, Andor is. I think Andor. Well, I that's another. I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole because I do like Andor a lot, though. I do like Andor a lot.
That's another video.
Yeah, we'll save it for Andor season 2 because that's going to be a fun one. Maybe we'll do a recap before Andor comes out talking about season 1. But let's get into like the nitty gritty, like the chunkiness. Let's get into the fight, man, because I thought that was sick, and that's like probably one of the most interesting parts of the episode.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you guys noticed it. I noticed it immediately. A lot of it mirrored the Battle of Heroes.
I'd have to go back and watch it because I only watched it the one time. I haven't had time.
There's a scene with Soul and the Stranger, and they're fighting on like that bridge, and their lightsabers are hitting the ceiling, and it's exactly the same motion as Obi-Wan and Anakin in the corridor. It's exactly the same motion. Like, it's right when they go on the bridge. Like, watch the fight.
I do like the dark hallway with the lightsabers glowing and stuff like that. That was pretty sick.
Yeah, it's definitely like a hallway scene, and then we get like this walkway. Doesn't that remind you of I forget what planet it is, but in Battlefront 2, there's like a map where there's like a AT-AT in the middle of the map. Oh. And then there's like these walkways all over the place.
Neat.
Oh yeah.
2.
Yeah, no, okay, I see what you're saying. I see where you're getting at with the save. Yeah, with
right there.
This part's
exactly
cool.
the same. It's exactly the same, and then it hard cuts to May and Osha fighting, and that's supposed to be like, oh, just like in the Battle of Heroes, where they pivot from our heroes to like Yoda and Palpatine.
I will say that scene is cool. It's very Matrix, but it is a little goofy of him.
Pretty anime.
You can definitely tell that there was wire work done there. You can definitely tell that there was wire work done there. Showing in slow motion, probably.
Oh, he didn't do that for real? What the fuck?
Yeah, but no, I do like kind of the anime style, like fighting though. Like that premise is cool, so I can suspend disbelief a little bit on that one.
But no, like it was exactly the same motion, like on the bridge. It can't be a mistake. The fact that them doing that on the bridge is exactly the same as the corridor fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin before they get into the control station of Mustafar.
Dude, I will say, I love. We don't get a lot of saber throwing in live action.
This moment was amazing right here.
And
I love the fact that he has a Shoto. I love the fact that he has a Shoto that he can just detach from his main saber.
Yeah, it's sick.
Just Force reinforced, everybody. Let's go.
Also, we haven't brought this up at all. I love his look. It's nice and simple. It's just a gi with a poncho with a Cortosis helmet with some teeth.
Like, I did think it was cool. I thought the helmet was black originally. I do think the helmet would be cooler black. I get why they didn't do that because they probably want to separate it from Kylo Ren. But
I like its rust. I like the rust vibe. I think it's very it's rustic for lack of better terms.
Well, no, it's not bad. It's just I think the black. I'm biased because I love red and black, but I thought the black.
I'm sure someone out there has already like painted a black version of the helmet, so you can decide whether to wear it.
100%.
But that's something I haven't even brought up. Like, I really like his helmet. Like, I have not. Like, most Sith helmets I see, especially lately, I don't care for them.
Yeah.
They look stupid to me. That one I like. It's nice and simple. It's just like teeth and a couple eye slots. I like it. I really like it. And he's just flashing his biceps because that's all you need. That's all you need. You need some Jason from the Good Place to put you in your place.
Yeah, that was cool with the jumping and going back. Did anybody else think that when she screams, it kind of reminds me of Palpatine, like doing the scream in Revenge of the Sith, kind of like disorienting everything. Like, I know she's not doing a Sith scream, but
that reminds me of Coral. Coral was the one who screamed at Soul that way. She said, "Fight me!" And that was like,
true.
One of the most. I felt like, even though Coral's kind of a background character in this, that was one of the most emotional scenes in the whole show, when she was fighting Soul and he just wouldn't fight back, and then she just flips. I was like, dang. Is part of her inside of Osha and May still? Probably. That's
maybe. I think that might be a possibility too, because we always see them kind of like getting the dust and the fading away.
I love that cut.
But Hovel of Lizards, the Stanleys, man. I'm gonna need you to elaborate, because I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Are you talking about the Gorn? Are you talking about the Gorn, like from Star Trek? You know about them? Because we're not talking about Star Trek today. We're talking about a different franchise. We're
talking about a better franchise, honestly. But no, I mean,
know, man.
I will say, like, whether you love or hate the Acolyte, I don't think you can argue that this is some of the best lightsaber combat we've had in a while. Not in Star Wars, just in a while.
It's not even close, dude. I initially did not care for the fight choreography in this show.
Really?
And it's not because I thought it was bad. Well, it's not because I thought it was bad. I did not think it was bad. It just didn't feel Star Wars to me. Like, the first shot I ever saw of the fight choreography in this show was after the Phantom Menace. I saw the 25th anniversary showing of the Phantom Menace. And then immediately after the fact, they had a sneak peek of the Acolyte. Yep. And it was the fight with Indara and May from the first episode.
Dude, I love that fight, dude. You didn't like it? You weren't a fan?
Well, here's the thing. That was the first thing I ever saw from the Acolyte. And it was like a month before it aired. And I was like, man, I don't know. I just watched the Duel of the Fates, and this is sort of just this isn't doing it for me. And then the first couple episodes, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this choreography, because I didn't think it was bad. Like, if we're comparing it to anything else that came out of these live action shows, especially fucking Ahsoka, which was the last show we got, fucking leagues ahead. This is what you get for hiring actual martial artists who know what the fuck they're doing. Oh,
well, also too,
enjoy your flight. Be safe.
Keep in mind, may the force be with you as well, Sarah. You gotta think, dude, you just came off the Phantom Menace. It's pretty hard to beat the Phantom Menace choreography. So yeah, you're probably gonna be a little critical on it.
It was a hard comparison, and even I brought that up during my story after the first 2 episodes dropped. But no, it didn't feel Star Warsy to me, because, like, I actually did lightsaber choreography for a few years of my life. And, like, you take and you compare it to other things in Star Wars. Like, obviously the live action shows for the most part have pretty garbage choreography. This is leagues above the rest. But, like, you take that and you compare it to, like, the original trilogy. Like, the original trilogy was very much classic, like, knights fighting. They have their bent, and they have their slightly bent knees. They have, like, the forward stances, and it's like, okay, we're striking
kind
each
of
other
shuffling back and forth.
They're also masters at the highest level of their craft in the original trilogy, is how I see it. Like, they fight like Maul and Obi-Wan did when he kills Maul in Rebels.
Yeah, just waiting for that
samurai,
one strike.
There's only going to be a few moves, and then the fights might be over already.
Exactly. So they're very thoughtful with their strikes. You can tell that a lot of thought goes into each strike, and that's supposed to, like, harken back to, like, this sort of Arthurian myth of a knight. And then you get to the prequels with, Nick Gillard doing the choreography, absolutely
legend, dude.
Yeah, Nick Gillard, absolute fucking stellar, did a great job like with the choreography for all those films. Duel of the Fates obviously peak. And I know a big complaint for a lot of people is that it feels a bit over choreographed, but I think it's sort of a logical like sort of extension of what we saw in the original trilogy. The original trilogy, it's like sort of these Jedi are like a dying order of warriors, like they're being thoughtful with their strikes because they know next thing can be death. But we go back to the prequels, it's Jedi at their prime. It's sort of blending like sort of the sword fighting style of an Arthurian knight with a bit of samurai, a bit of ninja. You're doing some leaps, some kicks. Like it's a dirtier version of fighting, and it's more fast paced because in this world, life is cheaper. And also you're blending different sort of fighting styles. So for me, that felt like a logical extension of what we saw in the original trilogy, but also sort of taking it back a bit to when Jedi were at their prime. Looking at the first couple episodes of The Acolyte, it didn't do it for me at first because I'm like, well, this doesn't really feel Arthurian to me. This doesn't really invoke like the same samurai vibe. It's just like you're doing hand-to-hand martial arts. Like if I wanted to watch that, I'd watch The Matrix. Another thing with but it grew on me. And obviously when you get to episode 5 and they actually have the actual lightsaber duels, I'm like, oh fuck, this actually works for me. And I finally got it. It's like, okay, it didn't work for me at first because it's like, oh, okay, you're doing hand-to-hand stuff. This isn't really working for me. Like you're skilled martial artists, I recognize that, and I enjoy that, but it's like this isn't doing it for me. But that's because it was hand-to-hand. We don't see a lot of hand-to-hand in live-action Star Wars, if we're being fair.
And I think you bring up a good point. Go ahead. Sorry.
Go on.
No, I was just going to say, I think you bring up a good point, and I think that's something that a lot of Star Wars fans, like, they're very quick to be like, I haven't seen this before. I don't like it. Like, they're very quick to be like, I'm not saying, like, that was you, but I'm just saying, like, I noticed a lot of Star Wars fans are, like, they're very much like, hey, this is a new concept to me. I don't like when new concepts are added to Star Wars because like it counters the lore and the belief system. But sometimes you gotta kind of like what you were saying, you gotta let it unfold. And then when you see the lightsabers added, you're like, oh shit, this is actually pretty cool. I think for me, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was patient with it. I was like, I recognized that this was good choreography. It just wasn't what I was used to. And I was like, let me see what happens when they actually get into like actual like full on sword fighting.
Yeah.
And I wasn't disappointed.
Well, and I think that's why I kind of wanted to pause you on that part because I think that's important. Even if it's like I said, it's okay to like not like shows or like not like specific aspects of things, but like you got to wait till you see the whole picture and kind of let it stew on you sometimes because sometimes it takes a second. You got to have that level of patience that I feel like sometimes Star Wars fans don't typically have. but no, I think the big thing for me with like the reason why, because I agree, like the hand-to-hand combat was a little strange to me at the gate too, but I loved the fact that they were mixing like hand-to-hand combat with like force abilities because I feel like they're like that's something we haven't seen, and I love like we've seen like people use the force, right? Like Dooku and Yoda and Attack of the Clones use a lot of force power. Like I see our skills can't be determined with a lightsaber. And then they start doing the insane with Palpatine and Yoda and Revenge of the Sith. We kind of see those type of force battles, but we don't see like kind of like almost like a like a martial arts kind of thing mixed in with like she's like hopping up the staircase and stuff like that using the force. It's very subtle. It's like they're not going like Force Unleashed with it, but it's like very subtle, like very agile ways of like almost kind of like parkour, I would say, mixed with like a little bit of martial arts that I really appreciated in this. But to go to the Stanley spot, I don't know whatever happened to his second blade. I think it just got pushed away. Maybe he couldn't find it or something like that. Like I don't know what the
Ashoto alone is not really a good weapon to use against a lightsaber. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was about to say I need to rewatch the fight. But I always just assumed that when Soul sliced the blade, that the Shoto, the short blade, was like deactivated, similar to like when Obi-Wan chopped Maul's blade in half and only one side worked.
Maybe. Yeah.
I assume.
Okay.
But he chopped the big one, didn't he?
I'd have to rewatch the fight. I haven't seen it in like a while.
I think by that point, I think he was waiting for, that's right, yeah, May came in and started to insert herself into the fight and everything like that and see how that was going to play out, and just like, good, go ahead, keep doing that. Everything, see how that goes. But
it's like, I don't care for either of these guys. Can I just get both of them killed?
I wanted more people to die, honestly.
I thought more people were going to.
We lost like 12 Jedi. What are you talking about? They murdered a 12-year-old girl. It was the girl from Logan, I think.
Yeah.
Daphne Keene, X-23.
She
One
killed
thing
it,
about
dude.
Daphne
She killed it.
Keene I've got to say is I found who was the one who said that the fight was going to be better than the Phantom Menace. And it's an interview with her, Daphne Keene, from
Really?
Logan and everything. But she's explaining that that's what her fight choreographer told her. That's not something that the marketing was trying to push. That's something that she reveals in an interview that her fight choreographer had told her. So maybe she shouldn't have said that, but it's also, I feel like that wasn't an on-purpose marketing push like a lot of us had
Like
thought
a
before.
gotcha.
We've brought that up before, so I
Yeah.
thought I should bring out that I found the origin of it.
That's actually quite good to bring up, because sometimes people just jump on something immediately without paying attention to context, and we're all guilty of that. Like, remember when they announced the director of the Rey movie, and it was a documentarian, and everyone started bringing up those comments that she made about wanting to make men feel uncomfortable, and it's like she was talking about Islamic men who beat and like kill women in the Middle East.
Yeah, it was like 5 or 6 years prior, right? Like it was an old clip. I remember that.
Yeah, it was just like out of context. And I think they did the same thing with like Kathleen Kennedy, like talking about, she wasn't even talking about Star Wars, but they like clipped her saying something about some sort of film. And they were like, yeah, you see, this is what she's doing in Star Wars. And it was like the same thing. It had been like years ago, like on a different film, talking about something else. I'm not like covering for Kathleen Kennedy, because I think she does make some wonky choices. But like sometimes it's like, bro, you got to realize we live in the day of information where you can clip anything and make anything fit your narrative, with the power of a button click, like it's the
her biggest mistake is trying to do too many jobs at once. She was the lead of Lucasfilm, ILM, and the other big company. It might have been THX. I'm not sure what the other one is. That's a conglomerate, but she was literally in charge of all three for a while, and like that's just way too much work for one person.
Yeah,
she brought us Jurassic Park and stuff, so I'm not gonna like hate on her forever, but yeah, she's made some big mistakes, and that's probably why, is she's trying to do too much, and she needs to lessen the load.
Yeah, like she even like had input on Galaxy's Edge. That's why Galaxy's Edge turned out to be the way it was.
Yeah. It's sad because it could have been something cooler, but enough on the. No, we're not going to go. We can deep dive into Galaxy's Edge another time. No, I know. I do think that's important though.
I got this from Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Like they light up and stuff like that, or they like here.
That's cooler than the Plagueis reveal.
Let me full screen it for you. Oh dang, that's sick. They're like resin or something like that. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, watch this. I take it off, the color fades out. I put it back on.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah, that's cool.
Hollow chess or whatever.
Is that new? Or have they always had that?
It's brand new. I just saw it when I went to Disney like a month ago.
Okay, because I went last year and they definitely did not have
that.
Cool. so they have a wooden one there. They've had the wooden one since Galaxy's Edge opened, like back in 2019. I went to the Cats preview opening. I had a friend who worked there at the time, so I bought the wooden one, and it looks very similar to like the one from Rogue One that you see very briefly. But this is like the actual thing, man.
That's sick.
Yeah, they're actually like, I think in the Acolyte they're playing something like that, like the guys on the ship. Like,
they have like it's the exact game. It's just wooden.
Yeah,
I love unique shit like that. That's cool.
Yeah, that's so cool. I like that's another thing I do like about the show. I think the background, like I think that's where a lot of the budget. There's like, oh, where's like all the budget going and stuff like that. The budget's in the background and the characters and the design. Like there's so many like props and creatures and characters. What's up?
The production value was great in this show. I never lost immersion and thinking, oh, they're going to different places. Like when you watch Kenobi, it's like, oh, they fucking went to Vegas. They filmed this in fucking Vegas.
Yeah, they filmed it all in one thing. Yeah,
you did a fucking bad job. But like with this, it's like I never questioned once that they're on a different planet. They're doing this. They did a great job blending like sets with like on-site filming locations with the volume. They blended them all perfectly together.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that they did a really good.
It felt like there was minimal volume use in this compared.
I think it was. I think
most of the other shows.
I think they learned like kind of what like Ben was saying is like I think they learned from Mando, because Mando was like all on the volume, and then it got to be like where it was almost too much. Like we want to see like a little bit of like off the volume. So I think they're kind of learning from that. Where like they shoot a good chunk of it there because like you can save a lot of money on that, but it's not. I think Andor kind of opened their eyes to that because Andor was like almost none of it was shot on the volume. There was very little shot on the volume for Andor, and that blew up. So
Andor was almost entirely on location.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I found the only clip from the show that I thought looked bad. Can I play it quick? It was like
from Andor or Acolyte.
Acolyte. This was literally the only shot in the whole show I thought looked bad, and it's the transition from them climbing down. This is it. Climbing down and looking at it looks like a video game transition.
Yeah.
And that is literally the one shot in the entire show that threw me off. Like everything looks, as far as visuals, like this show, you cannot deny it looks good. Like,
I have one other one, and when she steps out, oh my goodness, Inception!
Oh my god,
do that. Oh god.
But I think it's in episode 2 where Osha crash lands on that snow planet, and she like steps out of the ship, and it like zooms out, like it looks like she's on a giant green screen. Like they didn't give it that. I don't know if it's the lighting or whatever. They just didn't get that scene enough time to render it. You could definitely tell for me. Like those were like the two. I agree with you on that one.
I'd have to see it again.
But I want to get into because I'm curious to hear. I've heard Ben talk about not really liking May, and liking then kind of in this episode kind of changing. I'm curious to hear what you're saying on that because May honestly kind of confuses the shit out of me. Like I don't really understand her motivations. 1 minute she's bad, 1 minute she's good. It's just like she's kind of all over the place. Kind of like what Chimera said is like she didn't even hesitate to answer. To join me. She didn't even think about it. I'm like, and then in the episode 5, she's like, episode 4, she's like, I'm gonna turn myself into the Jedi. And then literally the next episode, she sees that Kanaka's dead, and then she starts fighting. Who's her character's name in the universe? The chick that gets stabbed 3 times.
Jackie.
Oh, Jackie, thank you, yeah. Jackie. Then she instantly starts fighting Jackie and like wanting to escape and running away and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, are you good? Or are you bad? Like, what is going on? Like, where's the driving? So
that's why I didn't care for her character at all. I'll get deeper into this during our roundtable, but like I didn't find her compelling or interesting. She's just a crazy girl in her early 20s.
Crazy world.
In a crazy world. Who wants to strike back against the guy who took everything from her. It's like, oh my god, this is so profoundly uninteresting. She's like a boring version of Azula from Avatar. Like she's a boring Azula. Like at least Azula had to excuse me because it's like, oh well, my mother never loved me. She always preferred my brother. So it's like that's something.
She got the spoiled brat syndrome.
Yeah, it's rat syndrome. But with May, it's like she was just always bad. Like we even see this in the flashback episodes, the 2 flashback episodes. She's just she was always a shitty kid, like always, and nothing changed. She isn't even a character. She isn't even a villain that I love to hate. I just didn't care for her. I didn't think she was interesting or compelling. But this episode helped to change my mind, helped me to warm her up to her a bit, because I feel like this episode, like we already understood that she felt like everything was taken away from her. And to be fair, the flashback episodes help. But I feel like this episode really sort of solidifies, oh, yeah, you're hurt. Like, your sister has actively said, I hate you. Like, your sister actually said that to you. That I'm angry about what I lost. That I hate you for taking it from me. It's like, oh, wow. Like, this is doing it for me. And then, she gets her memory wiped, and it's like she's just sort of a docile child. She doesn't know what's going on. It's like, whoa, good for you, show. You made me feel something about this character I didn't really care for.
Yeah, no.
And I thought, yeah, and I thought it was interesting, if not a bit predictable. It's like, okay, they swap roles. May becomes good, kind of. Osha becomes bad. It's like it was a bit predictable, but I think it was more or less executed well. Particularly Osha's descent into the dark side. Like May feels like a bit of an afterthought as a character. I get what they were going for. It's like, here we go, yin and yang. You even see it on Mother Anastasia's like forehead. She has the yin yang symbol on her forehead, and it's like, okay. You have good and you have evil. They're twins. Dark side, light, and you have the eye in each serpent. There's light in darkness and there's darkness and light. So you're seeing these characters transition. May is becoming kind of good. Osha is becoming bad. But May's character is definitely an afterthought. I feel like this episode did good to sort of give her like a reset. It's like, okay, her memory is wiped, so she can sort of restart, which I think is good because it's like she wasn't really anything. But OSHA, like they did a really good job, I feel, like sort of subtly building up to, okay, she's going to turn evil. It's a very realistic descent into darkness, I would argue, into the dark side. One of the best I've seen in a while. And I feel like the fact that there was sort of that thematic framing of yin and yang really helped both of those characters, May more than OSHA. I know you said you didn't really care for OSHA. I admit OSHA was a bit bland at the beginning, but I feel like the fact that we spent so much time with her helped me warm up to her more than May, especially since OSHA doesn't do anything fucking despicable until the end.
Yeah. Well, I think the only thing that I if I was writing the show, because it doesn't seem like they have any consequence. Like they're the same person, but it's not like if like OSHA gets hurt, May gets hurt, or like if somebody punches May, like OSHA feels the same. Like there's no feeling. I would have had personally OSHA kill May. I liked, like, I agree. I like that. I hate you. You ruined my life. And just because she figures out that Soul kills her mother, May's the whole thing that started this whole thing off, or at least in her eyes. Like they didn't even talk about Torben or anything like that. Like coming in and starting the stuff. Like
May
still tried to kill her and drop the fire. And she says sorry. Like, nah, dude. Like she should have bled the crystal and stabbed her.
You burned her drawing book and you started a fire that burned down your entire home.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Soul killed your mom. He did that. That was bad. But May did everything else.
Like, how cool would it have been? Like, and I'm going to paint this picture, and then Charlie, Peak, and Percy, I want to hear y'all's opinions on OSHA and May in this. How cool would it have been is we get OSHA force choking Soul, right? She dies, or not she dies. He dies. Like, he kills her. And I think Chimera, maybe I'm getting the scene mixed up, but the Chimera goes and like touches the shoulder, and then she like slashes at him. And then I think May should have gone up and been like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you did that. Like, this is so good. Like you fulfilled, like you're bringing, balance to like our tribe or whatever." And then she turns around and instantly stabs May, and May goes down, and like really solidifying OSHA's turn to the, like, I don't really see an other than they need May to find Chimera in season 2. If they do a season 2, like that's kind of going to be probably the catalyst, because I think the mind wipe thing is not like, they've never really done mind wipes other than with droids and Star Wars. So I think her mind's I think it's probably fragmented, but it's going to come back. I think it would have given us like what's the I'm blanking on the names of the characters, but in the Old Republic cinematics,
Obi-Wan mind wipes that guy in Attack of the Clones.
Well, that isn't really a mind wipe.
Is it a mind trick or is it a mind wipe?
It makes him rethink his whole life and forget about all like being a drug dealer, I think, in my mind.
Well, but that's like a mind trick. That's not a mind wipe.
That's more like hypnosis. That's not like, and yes, you could use hypnosis to like suppress memories or make people rethink shit, but like that's not like a strict mind wipe. It's like he didn't. Well, I guess you could argue that what he did is sort of like an advanced version of a mind wipe. I guess it's like he sort of forced the idea into May's mind. It's like you will forget your entire life or whatever. I don't know.
You're talking about the Death Sticks guy with Obi-Wan, right? Or is it, you want to have some Death Sticks?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I do. I think that's different though, because I think a mind trick and a mind wipe is they're maybe not completely different, because they do have similarities, but like I guarantee you, once that word off.
I think they're force adjacent though, like very similar.
I can see the argument. It's an adjacent ability. I can definitely see that argument.
Yeah, but I think like what they were going, or at least in my opinion, what they were going for was like they like completely like wiped her mind and like or fragmented it or something like that. Because I do think like maybe it is more like a forced trick where like she'll think of, or it'll come back to her or something like that. Because like even Vernestra's like, I need your help finding him. But I don't know. I think it would have really solidified OSHA's character, just like those brothers did in that old Republic cinematic, where the old Republic, the brothers are going to war. I think Vitiate, right? The Emperor Vitiate. He's like withholding his love until like one of the brothers strike one of the other brothers, and then he extends out his hand. I think you could have had something very similar to that, and that that old Republic cinematics, like what, like 5 minutes long and talked about all the time. Like you could have had some like taken that idea, not copied it, but like done your own version of it where like, or Osha stabs May and then she just like kind of like loses her shit and Chimera's like, come with me, I'll teach you the ways of the dark side. Because like I don't know, her like getting the mind, to me getting the mind wipe was kind of like, I don't know, I was like that's kind of silly. It's kind of,
I mean, I could buy it as a force ability. I can buy it as a force ability. Like it's one of those things where it's like we've seen the force manipulated in so many different ways, and some ways stupider than others. I don't think a mind wipe is that much more stupid than a mind trick. I think it is in the same vein. It's not something like what they did in what was it, Rise of Skywalker, with, hey, we can Skype and I'll take your necklace off your neck.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I don't think it's like, I'm not really debating. Like, I just think there's like, I think that's one thing that Star Wars has gotten away from is like sometimes you just want to see cool shit. Like, and I think Osha killing May and like really turning to the dark side is cooler than the mind wipe idea.
Yeah,
and
that is fair.
You know, and I like sometimes you just want to see cool shit, and I feel like
I thought the mind wipe happened at the beginning, like when they were kids. Like originally, there's a scene where one of the characters that Yord is interrogating is like, "Oh my god, like don't erase my mind or like do whatever like you guys do." That's like almost exactly what he says. He like very close to, you know, it's like a known power they have to be able to wipe minds is what I got from that.
Yeah, I always thought it was just like a Jedi mind trick because like Jedi kind of are very persuasive in how they
or like when they get Cad Bane, I feel like, you know, they
Cad Bane, like they had to use like
they could have totally killed that guy if they kept going. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
for sure.
Lobotomy, forced lobotomy.
Yeah.
Also, that reminds me. Speaking of the Nemoidian, which politician do you think that Nemoidian was based on?
Oh, I don't even. They didn't even have the same accents. They had like a regular accent, which was kind of weird because like all the Nemoidians I've ever seen,
they all have like the Chinese businessman accent.
Yeah,
and
but
I think we both know why they didn't do that. I think we both know why they didn't do that.
No, and
all cannons fire,
and that's fine. But like, it's already kind of pre-established that like they're literally that's the first in my I think it, to my knowledge that's the first Nemoidian that doesn't sound like that. The Clone Wars Nemoidians sound like that. The Revenge of the Sith Nemoidians sound like that. No, I'm
saying the guy in the Revenge of the Sith who's one of the ship leaders. He's like, all cannons fire. Fire! That's like his exact voice when he says it.
It doesn't bother me that much because like accents are a regional thing. Like
I mean, it's definitely a nitpick for sure. Like that's not like a ruining
I
thing
get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from. It's a legitimate thing to bring up because it's like they're part of the Trade Federation, but like accents are like a regional thing. Like for instance, Twi'leks have French accents.
Yeah.
But like, Hera doesn't have that because she grew out of it.
Yeah, fair. Well, you can't lose accents too. I guess that's true. Like if you're Southern and then you go to a place that's not Southern, like I've seen people like lose their kind of like Southern twang almost. You know, if you're going to like New York or something like that. So I guess that
yeah, exactly. So I get it. It's like a legitimate thing to bring up, but also it's like they're a regional thing. I'm more curious about.
Thank you, Stanleys. Thank you. That's their names. Arcane. Yeah.
I love those boys.
Yeah.
Effects and who's a good brother. He brought me a gift from every world he conquered. Oh, here we go.
Magnetize.
Okay, let's hear it.
I gotta turn my desktop audio on. Sorry, just a sec.
No worries. We still didn't hear it, but it's
okay. He says,
"Oh,
yeah,
fire!"
Yeah, we all know the scene, but
no, I'm just curious what he was based on because Newt Gunray was obviously Newt fucking Gingrich.
Yeah, with like the name and stuff like that. I mean, I don't think he was based on. I don't think he was based on anybody. I think they just threw a Nemoidian just to have another creature in the bucket list. But Charlie Peak, what did you guys think of kind of like Osha's and May's relationship in this episode, and then also kind of like what happened at the end with like the mind wipe?
Well, I think when it comes to May and Osha, I think they was both important to the series, and what made them important is who was speaking to them in their ears. Okay, they both had two mothers. you had one mother telling one, she was gonna let her go. And then with the other mother talking to May, oh, you want Osha to stay? Do something.
Get angry, yeah.
Yes. And then, okay, she saw her mother get killed. All of a sudden, all the witches are gone. Then there's Quimera. Now he's talking to her. Now who's talking to Osha? You got Soul. It's like two different coaches talking to their players.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then you always got to remember when it comes to May, she's all about family.
Kids.
Yeah, she's all
true.
about family. And the moment she realized Osha was still alive, that changes everything. But you gotta remember, when it comes to Osha, she has the personality of who? Soul. Soul want to do things by the book. Oh, made you evil. You turn. You got to turn yourself in. Then she goes to the other young Jedi. Listen, I don't think I could take May out. You gonna have to do it, cause it was still some love there for her sister. Well, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that could be why Jackie reacted so harshly too when she fought May. Because like I felt like her and Osha, like, not to call them gay, but like they had some like feelings between each other, right? Like I thought they were like really seemed like they were really close at some point.
Nah, I'm gonna call Chris Hansen on Osha if that's the case.
What you know what? I believe they had a relationship like Ryu and
5
Ken.
years apart, maybe.
Like who?
I don't know.
Like Ryu and Ken. You know how from Street Fighter, you know how the type of relationship they had. It was kind of close, but
I'm not a Street Fighter fan, so I don't get that reference. I don't get that reference. I'm a Mortal
Fighter.
Kombat.
Yeah,
I'm a Mortal Kombat man.
Street Fighter animated the movie. Street Fighter 2, the animated movie. They always have flashbacks. Yeah, you have to watch it. You will get a general understand where I'm coming from.
I'm about Street Fighter the series, man. It's like everything was lies. Just Cammy screaming down the hallway. Everything was lies.
Yeah, I saw that.
But no, like that's a good point with the mothers, because it's like, yeah, there's different people whispering in their ears. Like you are you are the influences in your life, like in your formative years. At a certain point, obviously you have to take responsibility for yourself and your actions. But like who you become is like determined very heavily by your environmental influences. Like, Denzel Washington talked about this when he was talking about like, young men going to prison. He was asked about it in an interview once, and he said, you can't blame the system. It all starts in the home. When you let the streets raise you, the streets become your father, and then the courts become your mother, and the jails become your home. That is what happened to May. Like I said, I don't care for May. I don't think she's interesting, but I understand how she got to where she is because Mother Coral. She was a cunt. She was a cunt.
Yeah, for a long time, May thought she was by herself. Only person she thought she had was Quimera. And same way with Osha. She just thought she just had Soul, and then she couldn't cut it as a Jedi.
Exactly. And she was so upset to fail. It worked. Like if Soul hadn't killed Anastasia, and if May hadn't have started that fire, and May had just let Osha go with Soul, May probably would have been a top tier Jedi. But May said to herself she couldn't let go of her anger and hate.
Yeah,
she couldn't let it go. It was too much loss to experience, and she experienced it at too late of an age. To quote Brendan from Cloud City Conversations, it's like, I can't brainwash a 9-year-old. He has feelings already.
Well, I think that kind of we've been talking for almost 2 hours now. I think that was really all my questions. I think we kind of wrapped it up nice. For you guys who are watching, we're definitely going to be doing another roundtable about the entire series on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. So definitely come check us out there. Check out all these guys down. I don't have their information down there right now, but they'll be there in the next 10, 15 minutes. So definitely go show them some love and spread the positivity everywhere. And guys, do you have anything else to add before we kind of close out here?
Good news. Said a bunch of money on my car insurance by switching Geico. No.
Okay, and with that,
Jesus, Murphy. No. Good news. Stay tuned for August. Because my buddy Max over here will be interviewing the fight choreographer Tien Hong.
oh yeah, man, it's
He
gonna be fun.
agreed to come on and do this for at least 20 plus minutes. So
Yeah, we're gonna have some good conversations about the fighting choreography for sure. It's gonna be fun.
I've spoken.
Well, thank you guys for watching. Again, show up on Tuesday. We're gonna have the final roundtable, and then we're not waiting for more shows. We're definitely gonna be having more roundtables and more topics to talk about outside of the Acolyte. So a lot more fun stuff.
Ewoks.
We can have a whole episode. We can literally all watch the Ewok thing and have a whole roundtable on the Ewok.
Why not, dude?
Movie.
Battle of Endor, Caravan of Courage.
It's both of them. It's both of them.
There you go. We can totally do it. I'm down to do that. But
there's
thank
a TV
you
too.
I'll have the holiday special.
Oh my god. Maybe not the TV show. I don't know if I have it in me.
And the Ewok TV show.
You guys are talking.
I heard
Charlie
holiday
And
stuff.
the Droids animated series.
Oh my god. All right, we're closing it out. We're gonna thank you guys for watching. And as always, may the force be with you. We'll catch you guys on Tuesday. Peace out.
Peace out.
Stay sexy.